Today, we're going to talk about what makes a brand stick in your mind. We're diving deep into the Australian Trademarks Act of 1995 to figure out what a trademark really is and why it's such a massive deal for any business. All right, let's kick things off with a bit of a brain teaser. What on earth could a very specific color, a catchy little sound, and a particular smell possibly have in common? I mean, they seem totally random, right? But believe it or not, they all share a powerful secret in the business world. And the answer is, they can all be legally protected trademarks here in Australia. Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of out there, doesn't it? We're talking about legal protection that goes way, way beyond just a simple logo. So how is that even possible? Well, let's take a look at the law and find out. So first things first, we need to get a really solid definition. What exactly is a trademark? Let's cut through all the marketing talk and see what the law actually says. What is this legal shield all about? Okay, so Section 17 of the Act lays it out pretty clearly. A trademark is basically a sign that you use to make your stuff, your goods, or your services stand out from everybody else's. You can think of it like a unique fingerprint for your brand that just tells the world, hey, this is me, and separates you from the crowd. But here's the thing. You can't just slap a trademark on anything you want. The Act has a really clear official test to see if something can actually qualify for that protection. It's a pretty straightforward three-part checklist. And here it is. First, it's got to be a sign. And we're going to unpack what that really means in just a second. Second, it has to be used, or at least you have to plan on using it in business. You can't just trademark something for kicks. And third, it has to be distinctive. It needs to be the thing that makes you, you, and not your competitors. If you can tick all three of those boxes, you are on your way. Now, let's go back to that first point, because this is where things get really, really interesting. The legal definition of a sign is so much broader than most people think. It's the whole reason you can protect some pretty unconventional things, like colors, sounds, and yes, even smells. I mean, the Act itself says it perfectly. Virtually any identifying symbol. That language is super broad on purpose. The law is designed to be flexible, to keep up with all the creative ways businesses are building their brands. The key thing isn't what it is, but that it actually works as an identifying symbol. And just look at the possibilities here. You've got the basics, of course, like a word or a name, but it also covers stuff like the unique shape of a product. Think about the Coca-Cola bottle, a specific color, like Cadbury purple, a sound, that Intel jingle, or even a scent. This is exactly how those sensory things become legally protected assets. Okay, so let's say you've got a sign and it passes the test. How do you actually get that legal shield we've been talking about? How do you make it official so you can actually enforce it? If you only remember one thing from this, let it be this. Your trademark has to be registered. Seriously, this is non-negotiable. Just using a logo or a name for years isn't enough. Without that official registration, you don't get the huge protections the Montreal Act offers. Registration is what turns your brand into a legal shield. And once you do register, you get a fancy legal title, registered proprietor. What that really means is you now have the exclusive legal right to use that trademark for whatever goods or services you listed. It's your property, and you and only you are in control. But what happens when someone doesn't respect that right? What happens when somebody copies your trademark and basically punches a hole in your shield? Well, this is where the law gets serious. The consequences really split into two big categories. On the civil side, a court can order the other person to stop, make them pay you for the financial damage they caused, or even force them to hand over any profits they made from using your mark. But then there's the criminal side, and the penalties there are even heavier. We're talking big fines, having goods seized, and even prison time. And look, these are serious crimes. We're talking about deliberately faking a registered trademark, putting it on counterfeit products, or even just having the tools to do it. The law covers the whole chain, from making the fakes to selling or importing them. Now, it's really important to get this straight. This isn't about someone making an honest mistake. For something to become a criminal offense, the bar is set pretty high. A prosecutor has to prove there was an intent to defraud. Basically, that someone was deliberately trying to trick people and cash in on a brand's good name. And the penalty for that kind of deliberate fraud? It can be up to 2 years in prison. That one number tells you everything you need to know about how seriously the law takes protecting a registered trademark. This isn't just a business squabble. It can be a criminal act. So, let's pull this all together. We started with a simple question. And we've seen how a registered trademark, whether it's a name, a shape, a sound, or a smell, isn't just a piece of branding. It's a powerful, legally enforceable asset. It's a shield forged by the law, and there are some very serious consequences for anyone who tries to break it. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When you consider everything that makes your brand what it is, your reputation, your hard work, the trust you've built with customers, is that thing, your most valuable asset, actually and truly protected by the law?